Well, I'm joined down the line now by the former Royal Correspondent of The Sun, Charles Ray. And Charles, I'm kind of thinking that there's going to be, I suspect there will be, an enormous outpouring of public support and goodwill for King Charles.
Oh, I totally agree with you, Nigel. I think it's starting to come in already. Twitter, or X, what it's now called, is already filled with people wishing their good wishes for the king, which I think is the only right thing to do. Let's ignore all the ones who want to have a go at the monarchy and everything else and want to bring it down and talking about their private medical situation and all that sort of stuff. I think this was a shock tonight. This was a very, very big shock tonight, because we assumed that when we saw the king leave the hospital after having his enlarged prostate dealt with, that he was all smiles and everything else, and he was waving. The same as yesterday, he was at Sandringham going to church with the Queen, all smiles again and waving again. So we all just thought, yeah, he's getting on with it. And so this announcement tonight is a huge shock. And the only great thing about it is that it appears whatever the cancer is has been caught early. And, any doctor, any surgeon will tell you the earlier they can catch this sort of thing, the better the prognosis for the future. So that's all good, positive news.
Yeah, that is. Absolutely, Charles. And I'm going to re-emphasise yet again that going for medical tests, going for diagnostic tests can often uncover other things you didn't know about. And therefore, if you get the chance, folks, go and have these things done. I wonder, though, Charles, he is 75 years old and clearly is going to be out of action for a period of time. Does this, and you mentioned earlier, those on X that don't wish the king well. Yeah. Does this fuel, in your opinion, those, and they may be few in number, but they're quite loud in voice. Yeah. Does it fuel those, fighting for, effectively, a republic?
Yes, it does. You'll always have those who want to support a republic will come out and say this is time for him to stand down. He's 75. He's got cancer. We don't know how long it's going to be and everything else. We need a change. But I think we should just ignore those sort of people, because they look for any excuse that happens in the royal family for their propaganda to come out, all the way through. So I think we should just ignore them and just carry on wishing our king the very best wishes.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. As I say, I believe there's going to be a huge outpouring of public support for the king. But Charles, at one point, I must ask you, when the king said he was going in for benign prostate enlargement problems and going for a procedure, we were shocked by the sheer frankness of discussing his medical condition in that level of detail. This particular statement, uses the dreaded word cancer, and it is still a dreaded word, I think, for all of us and every family in the country. But then it doesn't tell us exactly what cancer it is. It doesn't tell us what stage it's at. It doesn't tell us what kind of treatment he's having. And as an old newspaper man, Charles, I'm going to put it to you that I think in some ways this statement asks more questions than it answers. Aren't we about to head into, a massive period of speculation and demands from the palace that if they were as open about the prostate problem, why can't they tell us more?
Well, I think we saw with the fact that the Princess of Wales went, and undergone major surgery. There was all sorts of speculation about what could it be and why was it happening and everything. And I suspect it's going to be exactly the same thing again. We also have to remember that he is entitled, like you and I and all the viewers and all the listeners, that your medical records and your medical diagnoses are private matters, and it is up to you. If you want to discuss those in public, then it's up to you to do that. Now, we may get something from the palace that may explain what type of cancer it is. We may not. And that won't stop the speculation. I'm sure that tomorrow morning and various television documentaries and programs will have a variety of cancer specialists saying things, well, if it is lung cancer, for the sake of argument, if it is such and such of other cancer. So we can't stop that. That will happen. But it is down to the king himself to decide whether or not he wants any more details. He shared all the information with his family, and that is the right thing to do. And he doesn't have to share it with anyone else.
Now, maybe the clue, Charles, is in there somewhere following diagnostic tests, which probably took a few days to come back. Charles Ray, as ever, thank you for joining me.
Pleasure.